I've told this story before on YouTube, but it's worth telling again, especially since I got this John Deere down here that the customer is so distrusting on. I mean, I'm literally shaking components in front of him and he's acting like, what does that mean? You know, the blade is, well, I showed you this yesterday. The blade is just, well, I'll show you just so you can hear it. But I showed you this yesterday. So you come under here, you grab the blade. That's up and down. The blade is completely loose. And then when I come over here to this pulley, the bearings are shot. So we'll go over to this pulley, see if I can see it here. You probably can't see it, but you'll hear it. Let's see, where's it at? There it is. They're not supposed to make any noise. So this guy just wants a new belt, and I've just destroyed his imagination that it's not just the belt. The belt is the result of all these other problems. That blade shaking up and down like that would have caused a huge vibration, and it would actually have had distorted the deck, possibly. And so the belt had vibration and started you know, bouncing around on there and just came off. Probably cut it up when it came off. So I really am worried about this job because he is so distrusting. I'm gonna take pictures. I mean, I showed him everything while I was over there at his house. And that pulley, he says, oh, I can hear it, but I don't know what that means. Well, it means it shouldn't be making that kind of noise. That's what that means. But I kind of get his point. Years ago, I had a 2008 Chevy Cobalt. I know, there's your problem. But I was buying cheap vehicles back then because I had to travel so much. So you could buy a cheap vehicle, $13,000 or something like that. And within a couple of years, I'd have 100,000 miles on it. So I would try to make sure everything was running correctly before the warranty wore out. And that car, I mean, it had they all kind of just gave out right around 100,000 miles. So it was just kind of the idea. But man, I did put some miles on them within a couple of years. You know, I had my own business, so I was traveling all Minnesota and just everywhere. Well, it was like at 90, let's just say 95,000 miles, and the check engine light came on. So it was still under warranty. So I thought, hey, I'll take it over to the dealer. They can fix it. So I called them up, and well, what I did was I plugged my code reader into it. Now I know it's a cheap code reader. It really is not as sophisticated as the ones that the dealer has, but it said it had a bad fuel injector. And I actually considered just replacing it myself, but I thought, you know what, it's under warranty, why should I do it? I don't have the skills to do it, so it really would be me guessing. And back then they didn't have YouTube. Well, I mean, they did, but not to the extent they have it today. So I thought, you know what, let's just have them do it. So I take it in, and they call me up and says it needs new spark plugs. That'll be $250. What? So I said, well, I thought it was a few. I mean, it just seems to me that the code reader would have said spark plugs. Well, it's not. It's spark. And I said, you know, it said fuel injector, and he said, no, it's not fuel injector. It's spark plugs. Okay, I mean, that was a big bullet back then for us. That was a lot of money. So I approved it. And then he calls back and says, well, that didn't fix the problem. And then he listed another potential problem. And I was like, what? I'm not paying for those spark plugs that you just put in. Oh, but that's a maintenance item. I don't care. They were fine. That didn't solve the problem. I didn't bring it in for maintenance. I brought it in to get it fixed. But they were insisting I was going to have to pay. So they did the next thing, and that didn't work. And they called me up, did the next thing, and that didn't work. Ended up, it was there like 6 or 7 days, working days. And, you know, I needed this car. I mean, fortunately, we had another vehicle back then, so that was a plus. Oops, there's a mosquito I want to get, so hold on. Oh, I missed it. I was afraid I would. I didn't want to damage the camera. But boy, they're bad. I think I'm going to start the torch here, the wiki, or tiki torch. We'll get this thing going. So, anyway, it was there 6 or 7 days, and they finally got it to work. Called me up, and they did remove the spark plug charge, and I didn't have to ask again. They just removed it. They knew I wasn't happy about this. They knew I wasn't happy about the 6 days or the spark plugs, none of it. So I've always been a little leery about mechanics. And so now when I call a mechanic, I just want to make sure that they clearly understand my point of view. So the first time, what was it? I'm trying to remember. Okay, so I took that, that's what it was. Last year I had a couple problems with the truck. The first one I resolved on my own. I put a thicker oil in it. Instead of 5W20, I put 5W30 in it, and it resolved the problem. It still runs great. So as the engine gets older, the components in it loosen up a bit, and that 5W20 just doesn't have enough pressure behind it, so it fails on oil pressure. Well, then just a few weeks later, maybe a month later, it started acting up, and that's all it was doing. It was just acting up. On really hot days, you would start it up, and the cooling fan out, for the radiator would instantly kick on. The thermostat wouldn't budge. The air conditioner, I don't think the air conditioner would work. I feel like there was something else, but anyway. But all I had to do was disconnect the battery, and it would reset, and everything was fine. So I called the mechanic, and I explained to him exactly what was happening. He says, well, you need to let it code. And I said, it won't code. The other problem I'm having, if I just let it sit, the battery dies because the fan is running. It won't shut off. It just keeps going. So I have to disconnect the battery just to shut that off. And he says, well, it's got a code. Okay. And I said, he says, so just give it to me. We'll run it, and we'll see if we can, what the code is. So I took it over there. It was going to be $100 to code it, or to check the code. And they had it all day, ran it all day, and it never coded, just like I said. And he calls me up and says, well, it didn't code, and we'll try again tomorrow. And I said, it's not going to code. Yeah, it's got a code. I mean, and he said, and all the things you're discussing is not happening. See, no, that's not what he said. They were so focused on the code, they weren't listening to what I said about all these things not happening. That's what it was. The fan, the thermostat. They weren't looking at any of that. They just wanted it to code, and it never coded. So like on the 4th day, he calls and says, yeah, it's still not coding. I said, it's not going to code. You need to look at what I'm telling you. The fan will not shut off. I said, I'm surprised it hasn't happened to you yet. Well, apparently I was wrong. Maybe it was shutting off, but it was shutting off a long time later. So on me, it drained the battery. I guess it wasn't draining the battery on them, or they were using a jumper. Maybe they thought the battery was bad. I don't know. And then I told him about the thermostat and air conditioning. And I made him listen. I said, you're not coming off this phone until you look at these things. And he says, well, it sounds like there's a thermometer somewhere that is mismatching with the water temperature. And I said, okay, I'll go along with that. So the next day, he turns it on, and it's a really hot day, and he calls me up immediately. He says, yep, everything you just mentioned it's doing right now. So he looked. So I don't try to guide people on what needs to be fixed, because really I had no idea what needed to be fixed. I just wanted him to listen to the symptoms. That's all. That's all I wanted him to do. And I got kind of forceful about it. Maybe that was wrong, but I just needed him to listen. And he just wouldn't. Wanted it to code. So being a lawnmower mechanic, you know, you don't have computers telling you everything. I mean, some of the newer ones, they have a computer, but you don't really need the reader. I mean, you can still kind of figure it out pretty quickly. If it's a computer problem, or if you got an injector, you know, fuel injector on these newer lawnmowers, you can figure it out pretty quickly without having to go through the computer. You know, a lot of people buy these computers, code readers for the lawnmower, and since you have to buy one for each brand, and they're like $200 a piece, I'll still kind of hunt my way around it. But it's still pretty easy to figure out. But with all the stuff that's interconnected on a truck, people, they just rely on those code readers now. So that causes people to mistrust the mechanic. You know, I can imagine that mechanic saying, there's absolutely nothing wrong with your car, it's not coding. I can imagine that. If I hadn't forced him to look at the symptoms. Whereas the old school mechanics look at the symptoms. I mean, it's like working on a lawnmower. It can only be 3 things on an engine on a lawnmower: fuel, spark, or compression. Timing, but that also plays into spark. So I know that other people throw that in. Oh no, you got timing. Well, if your timing's off, your spark is wrong. That's all that is. So all you got to do is isolate that. And all you need on a lawnmower is a can of starting fluid. And that breaks it down real quick. If you spray starting fluid in it and it starts up, you know it's a fuel related issue. If it doesn't start, then you go to the next thing. Is there spark? If you see spark, and then you know it's a compression issue. And so then you can start isolating things based on what you know. If you don't have spark, then you know you need to look at the spark plug, the ignition coil, or timing. If you have spark, then you need to look at the compression, rings, and valves. So it's just, you know, a process. But they don't do that anymore. And at the dealership, they don't even do that. They have a flow chart. They are parts changers. They don't do diagnostic at a dealership. What I don't understand about my car is they didn't get paid for all the work they did. They only got paid for the one piece that fixed the problem. So they lose tons of money. Why? And I understand why they just go out and change parts. Instead of just, you know, like, okay, well, the guy said it was a fuel injector. Well, I can make more money on spark plugs because customers pay for that. Whereas the warranty, they don't pay a lot. So I don't know, maybe he was stubborn and just didn't want to believe that it was the fuel injector. I don't know if it ever was the fuel injector. I like to believe it was because of all the things they ended up changing. And when the list was like 3 pages long of all, they rebuilt the entire upper portion of the engine. And the thing is, it never ran right after that. Didn't mean to say it didn't run right. It didn't run the same. There was obvious differences. And then, of course, when you spend that many hours in a car, you notice the differences. But see, the thing is this guy, he wanted just the belt. And I'm actually worried because, you know, we spent a lot of money in parts now because there's so much wrong with it. And I'll take video of every piece of it. So you know, the cross-threaded bolt, there's the cross-threaded bolt where that blade goes. The blades have to be replaced because that one's going to be off balance and it's going to be kind of stripped off at the star pattern. And that pulley, you know, he heard that. Well, I don't know what that means. Well, it means you need a new pulley. That's what it means. But the thing is if I didn't do all this, he gets it back and 10 minutes later the belt falls off. He's going to call me up and says, you didn't fix it. Well, you told me. See, this is where I struggle. The customer tells you what to do. You do exactly what the customer tells you to do. And then they call you up and say you didn't fix it. Well, I wasn't trying to fix it. I was just doing what you told me to do. But then, if you don't do what the customer tells you to do, and you do more because you got to, then they'll say, well, you're scamming me. It's a tough business. I can't wait until I don't have to deal with customers. Once that second channel grows, I'm ending my customer relationship. I've actually thought about doing free repairs when that other channel grows, and just do free repairs and see how many people complain. You didn't fix my problem. it was free. What more do you want? I think I might try that just to see how many people will actually complain. How much you charge? I don't charge anything. How can you do that? Well, I make YouTube videos, so I get paid by YouTube. Okay, yeah, I'll take you up on that. And then they bring it back tomorrow. Oh, you didn't fix it. You need to fix it. I don't want my warranty. It was free, man. There is no warranty. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video over my other channel. I really appreciate it. Go check it out. So if I can inspire you. I don't know. I really don't. I mean, you got to be able to trust a mechanic, but sometimes you can't trust a mechanic. So you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.